We have a major update on OG Anunoby and his return to the New York Knicks. According to the latest report, OG Anunoby has been cleared to return for basketball activities. We're going to break down this report and what type of activities he can actually do at this point in time. All of this and so much more today. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now. And make sure you have notifications turned on so you don't miss a second of the new content. And now, let's get started. OG Anunoby is reportedly progressing well, and he could be returning soon for the New York Knicks. And honestly, guys, we need him back badly. The Knicks have lost a lot of games in February. We have a losing record in February without our key players in Julius Randle, in Mitchell Robinson, but of course, in OG Anunoby. But thankfully, this latest report from Ian Begley gives us a little bit of hope in OG Anunoby and his return for the New York Knicks. According to Begley, OG Anunoby has been cleared to shoot, according to Tom Thibodeau, but no contact yet. Steph Bondy also confirms the following by stating OG has been cleared for on-court work, according to Tom Thibodeau. But again, no contact yet. This is a very good update, though, because before this update, we were wondering if he was going to return to on-court activities. And this actually puts him right at pace in terms of that reevaluation period. And if he passed it, what would happen? So it seems like he's not only progressing well, but he's progressing right on target, exactly on schedule. That means that it's likely that his return date, which was estimated to be middle of March, close to the end of March, is likely when he's going to return. And thankfully, a report from Ian Begley here helps to confirm the following. According to Begley, the general idea of 3 weeks, I think, is something that the Knicks are holding on to right now with OG Anunoby. So as you can see there, it's extremely clear. The New York Knicks still feel that they can get OG Anunoby back within a 3-week time period. That means that OG Anunoby is likely returning toward the end of March. Maybe not the late end of March, but still going into that last week of March, that's probably when you're going to see OG Anunoby return for the Knicks. Now that he's cleared to shoot, he still has to go through stages. No contact yet, but that's likely going to come. He has to ramp up through practice. He's likely going to go through one-on-ones, two-on-twos. Then he's going to go through full court practice, then practicing with the entire team. He's going to be able to return for the Knicks. And I absolutely believe that's what we're going to see. Now, the question mark really comes to, is he going to be the first person to return for the New York Knicks? Or potentially, could Randle return first? Could Mitchell Robinson return first? Well, thankfully, TNT yesterday night reported this live on the broadcast. According to TNT's Ali LaForce on Julius Randle and OG Anunoby, she states, at least a week to 10 days before anyone is back, but hope is in sight. At least a week to 10 days before anyone is back, but hope is in sight. On Julius, OG, and Mitchell Robinson, Coach Thibodeau told us he's hopeful all three will be back by the end of the month. But you know us here at the Knicks Recap, we always have to look into things a little bit further. And that's exactly what we did here with Ian Begley's following report. Even though TNT gave us that update on OG, Mitchell Robinson, and Julius Randle, Ian Begley in this following report goes into more detail about Anunoby and his return for the Knicks. According to Begley, it's still too early to offer a definitive timeline for Anunoby, but at the start of this week, the idea of Anunoby returning in mid-March was viewed by the Knicks as a logical outcome if his rehab continued to go well. Still, he has several hurdles to clear before he can get back on the floor. One of the major hurdles is being cleared to shoot. The Athletic noted earlier that the Knicks hope to have Anunoby back in 2 to 3 weeks, and ESPN noted that Anunoby was on schedule to return to the court. And clearly, as we just heard, that's exactly what happened. Anunoby is progressing well, right on target, right on schedule, and now we know he is cleared. He is available. He's returning to the floor to shoot. No contact yet, but he will be shooting. And honestly, with an elbow injury like the one he suffered, the one he sustained, you want to make sure you're shooting right now. You still have that range of motion and everything like that. Thankfully, he didn't injure his legs, his knees, his feet, his ankle, anything like that. So in terms of cardio and being back to game shape, that should come for him a lot more naturally and easier because he was able to still do those type of workouts, even though he couldn't use his arm a little bit because of that elbow injury. Either way, it's good to hear that OG Anunoby not only has been cleared to shoot, but he is progressing well and could return for the New York Knicks sooner rather than later. For me, the main injuries that I'm looking at for the New York Knicks right now are really OG Anunoby and Julius Randle. To an extent, I'm looking at Mitch because honestly, I want Mitch back. But I like Isaiah Hartenstein. I like what he's meant for this Knicks team. And Isaiah Hartenstein, for me, is very capable of starting. So I would rather have OG Anunoby and Julius Randle healthy. Let me say that again. Healthy, fully healthy back. And hopefully playing their same to similar games. So that way we can see this Knicks team become that same team we saw a few months ago, which they absolutely will return to being once they are fully healthy and get all their pieces back. It's just going to take some time. The injury that concerns me the most is actually not OG Anunoby's or Mitchell Robinson. And the reason why is because those two guys already had surgery. They cleared up the issues. And their rehab is working back to not only get strength, but to feel comfortable again and feel normal again playing basketball. With Julius Randle, he's not getting surgery even though he needs it. And he's trying to play a similar game even though he knows that if he hits that shoulder wrong, it can get dislocated again. And maybe he misses even more time. And if he doesn't miss more time, then it's likely he's going to have to get surgery right away if it gets worse enough. And I wouldn't want to see that happen for Julius Randle because I believe, like a lot of you guys do as well, that Randle is the key for the New York Knicks to have a successful and deep playoff run. I hope once he returns, because as we heard from the TNT update a little bit earlier in this video, we now know that Julius Randle, OG Anunoby, and Mitchell Robinson, according to Tom Thibodeau, they're all scheduled to return this month. Maybe at different dates, but still this month. That's huge for the New York Knicks, who have been bitten by the injury bug for so long and have been waiting to get their full team back, the full squad healthy back. And we're just a few weeks away from making that a reality, getting all of our squad back, all of our boys back, fully healthy. A fully healthy Knicks team in this Eastern Conference is going to dominate so many teams. In the playoffs, we are going to dominate as well too, especially if we're fully healthy with our players getting significant rest and making sure we're going into the playoffs healthy, locked in, and focused. Once we get healthy, we're going to become deeper. And once we get deeper, this Knicks team is going to walk into the playoffs locked in and focused without a care in the world, without an injury in the world, and without any type of concern about their game or rest or anything like that. Because once fully healthy, we are going to be so deep that we're going to have players to play, bodies to put out there, given the situation or the circumstance. And this roster that we've given to Tom Thibodeau on any given night can beat any team, can go toe-to-toe with any team, can take on any team in a 7-game series. That's how impactful Mitchell Robinson, OG Anunoby, and Julius Randle are to this team. I know we're looking at this team right now. They've been losing a lot of games, and it's very easy to be concerned or say it's time to ring that urgency bell. It's not. It's not that time yet. You cannot judge this team right now. We are not fully healthy. We are missing a 3-time All-Star. We are missing the defensive wing that we traded a lot of the youth for, that when he's healthy, he is one of the best plus-minus players on any team in the league. Let's remember that. These guys have impact for this Knicks team, and not a small impact, starter-level impact. That means they can change the flow of the game and change the direction of a game. If we're losing a game, if we had these guys, we might be winning the game. We might be blowing out the other team. Sometimes I think we take for granted the players that we have right now, what this team is trying to do in the absence of all of these key players, and how we've looked. Even though we've lost some of these games, we have fought tooth and nail each and every night to try to stay in the game and win the game. Sometimes we come out on top. Sometimes we don't. But either way, this Knicks team will always fight to try to get that victory. And that's what we've seen over the last few games, win or loss. You add that with the talent that we have returning in the next few weeks with OG Anunoby, Julius Randle, and Mitchell Robinson, we are going to be elite once again, dominant once again, running through the league once again, looking like one of the best teams in the NBA once again. And remember this, folks. We have not seen a double Julius Randle with these following shooters around him: Dante DiVincenzo, Alec Burks, Jalen Brunson, and Bojan Bogdanovic. Let that sink in for just a second before we judge what's happening with this Knicks team right now. Because if you think about it like that, you are going to be hyped, just like me. But what about you guys? What do you think about this massive update on OG Anunoby being cleared for court work and for shooting? Let me know in the comments below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below. And of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knick fans. Peace.